Hello nerders, and welcome to episode 3 of Controlling the Battlefield, a series where I pick different maps and different game modes and give you, and sometimes a squad, a better idea of how you can take control of the battle and rise to success. Today we're going over Team Deathmatch on Caspian Border, one of my favorite maps for Team Deathmatch, and just so you know, a general guide to Team Deathmatch will be coming out soon, so stay tuned for that, while this is more of a map specific guide. As you see right off the start, I take off. I really don't want to get bunched up with my team, and we can see them mainly heading over to tank area, so I immediately want to give some distance between myself and them and get out of the cluster. Unfortunately, as I'm running, I take some fire, so I slow down to heal up. Notice my position. I'm pretty covered here. I got the door in front of me, so I can get anyone coming out. I've got the walls or that round drum in front of me, and as we'll see, I'm able to effectively engage people coming from the rocks. If you look here, I see my teammate flank over to the river, so I want to go finish off that enemy. I didn't really prepare for the engagement between the buildings, so I get outplayed. So let's get back into the action, and as we do, I want to make a few notes on bunching up, especially in Team Deathmatch where you know the spawns are very crazy. You want to make sure you keep enough distance between you and your allies, and keep note of what routes they might be watching, which routes they're taking, and any skulls that might be popping up on the screen, signifying that one of them has been killed. And right here you see, I see my squad mate run up the stairs and another go towards the gas station. So I just want to make sure our back is clear, so I spin around to look at tank area instead of running straight up the stairs behind Reaper. I see it's all clear, so I decide to move on. But notice I keep that distance between my teammate when going out that door. This goes back to roles of the medic. So you always want to keep this in mind, and as I say, never allow a double kill. So as we push up, I'm going to take down this lone soldier, and then I want to jump into overhead view just to give you a quick show of the routes and positioning I'm taking right now. And as you'll see, I'm using the MAV to get this overhead, and it's actually from a different match, so these are not actually the positions of the players in this game right now. I'm actually in the position of about that green guy in the top center of your screen. And before I go on, I'd really love for you all to take a second and go in the comments and tell me if you prefer these MAV overheads better than the images I generally use. If you'd like to compare, you can look back at any of my old callout videos or my last episodes of Controlling the Battlefield. And whichever images you guys prefer, the overheads I had before the MAV view, I'll continue to use. So please just take a second, let me know which ones are better. All those past videos are linked in the description. But let's get right back into the action. And let's talk about this route I'm taking back here. You know, generally, I don't like to flank this far in Team Deathmatch. That's because, it takes you out of the action for too long. But we see the firefights mainly taking place between the gas station and the river area, which is all highlighted in red. So I'm just trying to give myself some cover with the metal fence and give myself the vantage points that these rocks will offer, which are colored in blue. So let's clear that and show you what the plan looks like in my head at this point. As you already saw, I flanked around that fence to get in a position to secure that road before I cross over. After the road's secure, I'm going to try to push up to the river rocks, which are in blue, and then when I get to the opening, I'm going to push up to the wall and pick off the enemies there, which is shown by my new position and the area highlighted in green. And if I get the opening, I'd like to push up to one of the buildings, get on top for vantage and cover, and be able to pick off the enemies as I get moved to their new spawn, which would probably be tank area or bus area. But you heard in the beginning, I said sometimes this takes you out of the action for too long, and in this case it actually does. You'll see in a minute my team advances and takes control of the river area, which will be represented by the green square. And from this we can assume the spawn is going to flip, and the enemies are probably going to go to the opposite side, which is most likely the tank area, which is going to be highlighted in red for you. So let's jump back into the game and see how this plays out. So I notice my team's pushed up, and I quickly turn around to make my way over to the tank area. But I don't just jump into the open. I told you already that the rocks provide great cover and vantage. Plus I have a silenced weapon, which makes it that much harder for the enemy to track me down, even with my dreadful aim. And as you see here, even when they're right under my nose, they're still looking around trying to figure out where I'm at, and that really is the benefit of a silenced weapon in this kind of game mode. And now I just want to pause for a second and show you how awesome these rocks really are for these types of engagements. The rocks have all these nooks and crannies in it, which really allow you to fall back and get effective cover from all sides, and with only minimal movement you can be looking left towards the mountains, turn, look right towards the gas station, effectively see a pretty wide area with a small amount of movement and still plenty of cover. So in this clip, I just have a friend of mine on the rocks, and he gets in a position where he can actually shoot me, and you'll see I take damage in just a second. He hit me, but I can barely see him. I do get that spot for a second, but there's no way, even with good aim, I'd be able to get that shot consistently. And this next clip is with him looking towards the gas station. I saw him pop up for a second. It's a little clearer here, but still, he can see my entire body, and I could barely see any of him. So we'll just watch as I use these rocks to my advantage for a second. We'll see here I can peek out to the other side I showed you, and I've got a really good view on them. I can fall back, use this cover, and I'm barely exposed, but I can see all of the enemies. I keep falling back as needed into the cover for reloads, and then pop back up. And then I start to realize I have taken down a lot of enemies from the other team, so it'd probably be best if I start to move. And that really is key here. You never want to stay in the same spot for too long. The odds are I could have stayed and got a few extra kills, but eventually the whole enemy team could be coming at me and they'd take me down. But I'd rather move, try to keep my flank going, use my silencer to my advantage, and keep taking them down without them ever getting to me. So you'll see me stop a few times, take a few seconds. What I'm doing here is trying to stop and establish a plan, figure out where the enemies are currently at, and where they may be going. Throughout this time, I do keep spotting. Though I'm silenced, I know my accuracy isn't good enough to land all these shots. I do let my trigger finger slip once on accident, but then I quickly stop shooting. The minute I get fired upon, though, I know I need to get position with maximum cover and try to return fire. And I'll take the assist, no big deal. So now I'm back to continuing my plan, and I look towards tank area to continue that flank. I obviously didn't pay much attention though, because I did engage an enemy when I was almost completely out of ammo. Luckily I was able to pull off the pistol kill, and then I immediately tried to look for the support to give me ammo. And as you've seen in other videos, I tend to chase support classes around forever begging for ammo, and they usually don't give me any. Luckily in this match there was a viewer there, and he was nice enough to give me some ammo. Again, I pause and try to get a feel for the battle. Are you seeing the theme here? Yes, I could just keep sprinting and getting the action, and I'd probably get a few extra kills than I end up getting in this game, but I know I'd get a few extra deaths at the same time. So instead, I think it's very key to try to take your time and plan out what you're going to do. And you may have been wondering, why did I put up all those overheads describing my route I was going to take if I didn't actually take that route? Well, it turns out here, I'm going to try that same plan again, and this time it's actually going to work out. But the plan doesn't go without a few kinks, and right here, my horrible aim, please don't laugh at me. And you know, even with some of the worst aim on YouTube, I think I do pretty okay for myself, don't you think? And really, look at those funky leaps going on. That's sort of what I blame. It makes it too tough when the animations are wacky like that. You know, generally, I would not recommend following the enemy, but I knew this video was probably going on YouTube, and I was sort of angry at how bad I missed that guy, so I do chase him down, and I saw he killed one of my squad mates, so, you know, I was a little upset. Anyway, one of our teammates takes him down, so again, I return to try that same plan from the beginning again. And as I'm sprinting back over to continue that flank, I'd like to show you a different clip for a second. As you see here, most of the battle was on this side of the map, but I'd like to show you a good power position if you're on the other side of the map in Team Deathmatch. So right over here on the road between tank area and bus area, you'll see it's a pretty nice area for cover. I can look out on the right here like I'm doing now. You can even peek here through the left and pick off enemies on that side. Generally, I wouldn't recommend pushing up too far. You know, sitting back here where I'm at now, I can keep falling back for cover. And if you're running health kits on the assault kit, you can drop health and constantly re-heal yourself. But if you're on the other team, you can also be on the opposite side of these crates and containers. And if things get slow, you can push up to the next block. Or, like I said, on the other team, you could be on the other side. Generally, pushing up, getting antsy, trying to fight for those kills, and like I said earlier, isn't always the best decision. And you'll see it's going to get me killed in just a second. And there you go. But that position can work really well, because if you have your team behind you, you know the enemies can only engage from one side, and you've got the advantage there. But remember, once teammates start dying or leaving your back, you need to move because you are vulnerable from behind. Now finally, let's get back to that plan I showed you all the way in the beginning. I see an opening, so I don't take such a wide flank this time. I go straight to the house. I'd like you to take note how I reload my gun before I climb the stairs, or as I climb the stairs, how I use that rubble for cover. I'm keeping close to the rubble to limit the enemy's lines of sight on me. And right here, again, this goes to show you the benefit of a silencer. I was right next to them, yet no one engaged me. They just didn't know I was there. And we'll finish this game off with me just picking off a few more guys from this area. I hope using some of these locations I highlighted in this episode, you can better take advantage of Team Deathmatch on Caspian Border. Unlike most of the Team Deathmatch maps in Battlefield 3, this one does play out differently each time because the spawns do sort of rotate where a lot of the other game modes are very linear. Mainly if you just pay attention to where your team is and where the enemy team is, or where they're heading or dying, you should come out on top. Just make sure you don't stand out in the open on rooftops and instead use the stairwells and rocks for cover. Good luck everyone and happy gaming.